Hey, Nitiller here, and today I have a bit of a special video. It's a challenge run I did in Black Future 88, but before I talk anything about that game, bit of a seizure warning, this game tends to be quite flashy. Now, because this game is pretty unpopular, I'm gonna be trying to explain a lot of the things that are going on and are relevant to this run, so that you're not as blind as I was when starting to play this game. But if you're pretty familiar with this game, there's a link in the description for this video, but without any commentary, just raw gameplay. Let me try to explain how the HUD works in this game, before I go into detail about what does the title even mean. On the top left we have our blue health bar, and you might notice that one of our health points is burning. That is a blood infection. What is a blood infection? Don't worry about it. Below that we have our skull with a red timer. It symbolizes when our heart is gonna explode if we take a bit too long in this hellish place. To the right of that we have money, and below the skull we have this white circle, and it's just a dash. Every time we use one, we need to wait a bit before it comes back. In the future we're gonna be able to upgrade it so that we have maybe more, maybe dashes are better, but right now it's not really important. The character I'm gonna be playing for this challenge is Sioux, who is one of the most challenging characters in this game, and here's why. They start with a very low max HP, all blood packs are replaced with stims, so instead of health on the floor that we can heal with, we instead get like these temporary upgrades that go over our health. And it might sound pretty good, but it's gonna be a curse pretty soon enough. We also have low max ammo. Their starting weapons are Survivor's Pistol, which is this generic pistol that has infinite amount of ammo and just pretty average. Not too strong, not too weak, but a good weapon. The other weapon is a Needler, which is a pretty special weapon for this character, because when we run out of ammo with this weapon, instead of using it as a melee weapon, we instead can throw it at an enemy or destructible object and automatically reload half of its ammo. And that sounds pretty good, but you need to catch this weapon before using it again, which can be a bit tricky, especially when there are pitfalls in this game. Now let me try to explain a bit more about the title. Max level Skymelt. What does that mean? Skymelt is the city that we're exploring in this game, and any money on the floor or ammo and even health, it can pick up automatically if we don't pick it up fast enough, and it empowers itself. Max level for Skymelt is level 17, and I want to reach that before the final boss fight here. Skymelt is pretty RNG in what perks it gets with each level, so this run is pretty RNG intensive. It can have some runs that are basically impossible, because Skymelt got some overpowered things. Meanwhile, other times, like this one, it's doable. Is it easy? Debatable, but it's doable, that's what's important. An example for an upgrade is like more enemies per room, faster consumption of resources that we drop on the floor, and stuff like that. Just things that make our lives just a bit more difficult, with some perks that make it way more difficult, but let's not think about them right now. The second to last thing in the title is no blink weapons. Blink weapons are weapons that use our dashes as ammo, and that might sound pretty risky, but they're really overpowered in how they work. First of all, by having a blink weapon, you get +1 dash by default, and these weapons deal an absurd amount of damage, like something like a mini nuke. But you cannot die from blinks. Meanwhile, from a mini nuke you completely can, and easily. So yeah, I've just tried to not use these, especially in the late game when you can have a perk every time you kill an enemy, all your dashes are restored, which suddenly makes the blinks go from, yeah, it's pretty strong to it's overpowered as hell, and it's impossible to lose a run then. And the last thing in the title is Murdervator. I'm gonna try to explain that when we get there. But right now, I'm gonna try to edit this down and see where are we even in the run. Alright, it appears that we already went past Murdervator and have another blood infection. So let me try to explain those two quickly, and then we can talk about what's currently going on in the run. The Murdervator is an alternative version of the second floor. You can enter it by going into the pit of the shop, and it has some drawbacks as a floor, because you have to skip the first floor's boss to even enter it, so you lose one dash upgrade. And the Murdervator is really difficult as a floor so early in the game, while the second floor naturally is pretty easy. The Murdervator is difficult because it has a lot of drone enemies, and the drone enemies, when they die, they release gas that can be ignited by either explosives or they can be ignited by hot weapons. Like the weapon I'm currently wearing with the nail smelter, it could ignite gas and that would cause an explosion, which can kill you. Now for blood infection. What is a blood infection? Blood infection is the burning health bar that I have. How do you get one? You can get one by either taking stim packs or by using synthesized blood. What does blood infection even do? Blood infection makes us gain less healing from healing items or healing perks. If we ever take damage to that health point of the blood infection, we will take, I think, 3 additional hit points at the same time. So if your blood infection spawns at the last 4 health points of your health bar, you will just die if you ever take damage to that part. How do we get rid of blood infection? There are 2 ways. You can either take damage to it, which means you will take additional 3 damage on top of that, or we can have it fixed at a merchant. But in this run we have not a lot of money, so it's gonna be kind of difficult for us to do that. Alright, all the basic mechanics explained, and we're already on the last floor. Oh god. Well, at least the positive is that I'm looking at the gameplay, so I can talk about it. On the last floor is pure chaos. And you might see me completely focusing the enemies on the floor, which are really dangerous because they, if you run out of dashes in the air, are gonna hit you with a laser on the floor. And I can explain how we can see what boss fight is gonna be on the floor, because there are 2 ways. You can either see the boss name under the floor name when you enter it, or you can look at the graffitis in the background, and each graffiti shows a different boss fight. The easiest one to see is, or to guess, is probably the Prophet, because he was the first one I discovered that this is actually a mechanic, which is a really cool detail, that the wardens of this city have a graffiti after them, showing what prisoners think about them, especially with the Prophet one. Like, that one is sick. But now that we have some free time, someone might be wondering how or why did I do this challenge even, and the answer is kind of simple. There is an achievement in this game to die 150 times, and I didn't want to do this in the laziest way possible of just entering the first floor dying, entering the first floor dying. So I prefer to just do more and more absurd challenges each time I played, with me playing only for the bosses with the challenge character Skull, and I somehow did that a couple of times in a row actually. But yeah, die 150 times, I don't really want to waste my time doing something boring, so I prefer to have some challenge. On the left we can see some... okay, we could have saw some cursed enemy that was burning. And I'll be honest, after 20 hours of playing this game, I have no clue what these enemies are. Are they an elite? Probably. But I don't know what do they do, and this game isn't exactly great at explaining stuff to you, as can be seen by the fact that I have to explain everything here. We do have the max level of Skymelt right now, so I can finally start to pick up some money off the floor, which means that the merchants are finally gonna be useful for me, instead of being like, sometimes good, sometimes not. And because I got rid of the blood infection, my dashing into the bullets that has the upgrade that can heal me if I destroy a bullet with my dash is finally useful, because blood infection makes that just not work at all. This boss fight is probably the easiest in the game, if I have to be honest. Oh, a Blak weapon. We can see that. Ooh, a red upgrade, which is a boss-specific upgrade. And we have Duncan, the final boss fight of this game, the narrator. He's not too difficult, as long as you have a good weapon for AoE, he should be pretty free. And with the boss upgrade that we just picked up, it should be easy either way, because it gives pretty decent AoE by itself. Well, yeah, that's the whole boss fight.
Lost at sea, the ocean in love with you. You'll never break out.
I just love the vibe of this game. And the fact that the narrator sounds so strange is so sick. Duncan is dead, and the Ecoplex has been destroyed. But you must go back in time. Your time... oh my god. Yeah, it's not over. Time for New Game Plus. There are two upgrades here. One increases our damage for us and for the enemies, meanwhile the other allows us to kill enemies and gain back time. And there is a funny or interesting bug with the giving you time for killing enemies. If you kill an enemy that spawns gas, like drones, the enemy is bugged and will give you way more time than he should. So instead of 6 seconds, they can give you like half a minute. You know, you can have a run with half an hour spare time before your heart explodes, which is pretty balanced, if I have to be honest. We do have to spend time to even get upgrades. At least the blue upgrades. So I guess it balances itself out. Here we have a special room that allows us to summon a hunter, which is a Cinder. I see you, which means he will appear in the next floor. I'm sorry that I skipped all over the hunters during this run, but I explained every other mechanic. My bad, I was a bit too slow. Cinder is one of the most dangerous in the game, because Cinder, he has these like fire attacks, and if you have Skymelt upgrade that gives you double the hunters, two Cinders can appear like above you, one from the right and one from the left, and they just can melt you completely, and it's unavoidable. Next matter, I'm gonna pick that up. Here we have a Prophet. He appears with a slight delay when you enter his room, which is the only boss in this game that does that, I think. Prophet is pretty easy, but he can be the hardest boss in the game if you don't have a piercing weapon. He spawns a lot of ads and spams a lot of bullets. So if you don't have a good either melee weapon that can get rid of the bullets or a good piercing weapon that can deal with a lot of enemies at the same time, you're gonna die. On New Game Plus, we don't get the classic boss upgrades, but we do get like an option to get some more time, which is kinda boring. And a bit of a shame that we went to the Murdervator, because now we're lacking one boss upgrade that could have been useful. And another Blak weapon dropped. Will I pick it up? It's the best weapon in the game. And we have the Uber boss again, Null Mass Cannon. Also now known as the Blink Weapon by Need Healer. Uberheim is really easy. Because his attack... How did I get hit? Oh my god! I mean, he's extremely difficult. No, he's really easy. He just appears above you and tries to hit into you by crushing down. And also does this like melee attack, but none of that is too difficult. You can just slightly dash away. The ads that he spawns are also not too bad. And we can finally see the second floor that we skipped last time because we went to the Murdervator. Oh, one mechanic that I forgot about. When I'm shooting enemies, I constantly switch between my first weapon and my second weapon. From Survivor to the Hot Nail. It's because the fire rate between the weapons doesn't share. So if you have, for example, two shotguns, you can just switch between them and shoot constantly. And both of our weapons are kind of slow, or at least the Hot Nail is slow. You know, the Survivor's pistol is kind of basic, so we don't care about shooting it in the background. This boss fight is one of the easiest one in the game. I guess I'm talking about every boss fight like that. No, never mind. This boss fight can be difficult, because there is Juno and Jupiter. Jupiter, we completely skip him. He's not afraid at all. He does this like slow He does this slow projectile that's really easy and predictable, unless you play like me. Meanwhile, Juno is really dangerous as he spawns lasers, he shoots bullets, but luckily during this run we didn't see the actual hardest boss fight in the game, which is like Corrupted Survivor or the Doctor. I don't remember how he was called, but I remember that he was the first boss fight that I had in this game, and he has some really clunky hitbox that is quite easy to die to and easy to get frustrated by, because you see how he swings, you think, okay, that's the area that's gonna hit me. No, it's gonna be the area that's completely different, because he suddenly did a dash and he suddenly slashed again. After some time, he's pretty chill, but at the start of the game, yeah, he's quite dangerous. Your blood became flammable, and then it exploded. We died because Juno hit us for, I think, 4, plus we were blood infected, which means we got another 3 damage on us. And I also should have dodged through that, because it's one of the easiest attacks to dodge, but whatever, that can happen sometimes. But yeah, that was it for Black Future 88. I had this video recorded for a while. It was recorded even before the video Stray Path demo that I had on my channel, and I didn't release this video because I didn't like how my previous voiceover looked like, so I decided to re-record it, and I didn't really wanna do that for a while. So, yeah, it's a bit late, but I hope you like this video. I really like this game. It's the best way I can describe it is similar to something like a Nuclear Throne, I'm pretty sure the game is called, where it's really confusing, it's really difficult at the start, but over time it should be understandable, and this game is just pretty much pure crack when you get into it. The first like 2-3 hours, yeah, this game is like, you play it, you die, and you're like, what the fuck was that? Why did I die? What is this bullshit game? What? Why is this so unfair? But when you start to notice stuff like Skymelt stealing your money and upgrading itself, so you actually pick up the money and Skymelt suddenly doesn't get any upgrades, you're like, oh shit, this game is kind of free? How did I struggle in this before? And you have to find more and more ridiculous ways to play this game and try to die 150 times. Yeah, But I did this voiceover like 6 months after I didn't play this game, so if I missed something or if I explained something wrong, I'm sorry. But we can end this video with a fun fact, because I spent, I think, 8 hours on this challenge. Or let me double check that. Oh, never mind. I did only spend 5.5 hours on this challenge, which took me like 3 days. And yeah, this was a really difficult challenge. I wouldn't recommend anyone new to this game to play like me. It's a bad idea. This game is already challenging by itself, and it's easy to go from 100% health to 0, as I proved on the Juno boss fight. But if you liked how this game looked like, just play it yourself. I personally played it on a controller, which I'm not quite sure if it's the best idea. I think this game would be way easier, especially on Sioux, because then the picking up and throwing the weapon would be way more reliable, and aiming with your right stick can be kind of difficult. But I hope at least one person enjoyed this video, and maybe someone is gonna be playing this game. If you do, tell me what challenges you did. Maybe you just played the game normally, the most wicked of challenges. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this challenge, and I'll see you in another one with Curse of the Dead Gods, where I'll be finally beating the final temple, just like I promised at the end of the series. Bye bye.